Sometimes, life does not whisper change. It screams it, in silence. And you feel it, don't you? Not in the noise of your surroundings, but in the quiet ache beneath your skin, in the growing discomfort with the person you used to be. What if the chaos you feel is not destruction, but rebirth? What if everything breaking down around you is the only way for your higher self to rise? If any part of your soul resonates with these words, you're not lost. You're awakening. In this video, I'll walk you through 8 rare signs that your life is about to shift forever. Not someday, but now. If even one of them feels familiar, take it seriously. It means you've already begun the climb. And before we dive in, I ask you for just one thing: if you find truth in these words, subscribe to StoicLegacy. It's completely free and it helps us reach more souls on the edge of transformation. Let's begin. Sign number 1. You feel strangely uncomfortable in your old routines. Something has shifted. The same habits that once brought comfort now feel dull and lifeless. You wake up, go through the motions, but a part of you is watching from a distance, questioning why you're still doing the same things with the same people in the same places. Your mind begins to reject autopilot. You start to feel a low restlessness, a quiet irritation with the predictable. This is not boredom. This is the soul waking up. The Stoics believed that discomfort was the seed of transformation. When your routines stop feeding you, it's because your spirit is hungry for something more. You may not know what that more is yet, but the fact that you're even aware of the emptiness means growth is already underway. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are pained by any external thing, it is not this thing that disturbs you, but your judgment of it." That judgment you're making about your life right now is important. It means you're ready to evolve. The most dangerous place to be is not in pain, but in comfort that dulls your desire to grow. When that comfort starts to crack, pay attention. Your old life is beginning to fall apart because your new one is demanding space. You're no longer satisfied with distractions. You crave depth. You crave meaning. This discomfort is not your enemy. It's your invitation. Sign number 2. You start craving silence and solitude. You used to fill every quiet moment with noise, with music, with chatter, with endless scrolling. But now, something has shifted. You begin to crave silence, not out of loneliness but out of clarity. You sit in your room, no distractions, and feel a strange comfort in the stillness. This is not isolation, this is transformation. The Stoics believed that silence was a space where wisdom speaks. Seneca once wrote, "Associate with people who are likely to improve you. Welcome those whom you are capable of improving." But when no one is around, silence becomes your greatest teacher. You start stepping away from loud crowds, from shallow talk, and even from constant digital noise. It's not that you hate people, it's just that you're starting to like your own mind more. You finally have the courage to listen to your thoughts without running away from them. You sit with your pain, your questions, your truths. You reflect. You process. You observe. Silence becomes sacred. You realize most people speak just to fill the emptiness. But you are learning to let the emptiness speak. You are tuning into a deeper voice within you, one that was drowned out by the world for too long. That voice reminds you who you are, what you value, and where you are going. You walk alone sometimes, not because you have to, but because you want to. And in those walks, without music, without talking, you feel free. You notice the sky again. You breathe slower. You walk taller. You start to understand that real strength is found in quiet reflection, not loud declarations. You begin to feel power in being still. In a world addicted to distraction, your desire for solitude is rebellion. You are no longer afraid of being alone with yourself. You are finally becoming your own sanctuary. And that shift, that deep craving for silence, is one of the clearest signs that your life is about to change forever. Sign number 3. You become obsessed with cleaning up your life. One morning, you wake up and something just clicks. The clutter in your room suddenly feels like a mirror of your mind. The messy desk, the unread messages, the half-finished plans, they all scream of a life scattered in too many directions. And you no longer feel okay with it. You don't want chaos around you because you're starting to find peace within. So you start to clean. Not just your room, not just your phone, but your entire existence. You delete conversations that no longer serve you. You throw out clothes you never wear. You cancel plans that drain you. You unfollow people who dim your energy. You create space. You wipe the slate clean. Because now, you're starting to understand what the Stoics knew all along: order on the outside begins with order on the inside. Marcus Aurelius once said, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." You hold yourself to that standard now. You look at your relationships and start questioning which ones are rooted in truth, in respect, in growth. Anything fake or shallow begins to fall away, not with drama but with quiet resolve. You're done pretending. You're done tolerating people who only show up when they need something. You're done playing a part in your own self-sabotage. You don't need revenge. You don't need applause. You just need a clean path and a clear mind. And so you clean relentlessly. You become ruthless with your time, intentional with your focus, selective with your company. You start to recognize that a messy life isn't just about stuff, it's about boundaries. So you set them. You say no more often. You stop explaining yourself. You let people feel whatever they need to feel about your new way of living. Because deep down, you know this urge to clean, to purify, to create structure isn't temporary. It's the soul's way of preparing for the next chapter. Something big is coming. And your life is shedding its old skin to make room for it. Sign number 4. You begin to crave time alone more than attention. At some point, the noise of the world begins to lose its grip on you. You stop craving validation and start searching for silence. The parties that once excited you now exhaust you. The endless scrolling that once numbed you now irritates you. You no longer care who's watching, liking, commenting. You just want peace. Solitude becomes sacred. It is in this quiet space that you begin to hear the truth, your truth. You realize how much of your life was driven by the fear of missing out, by the need to be seen, to be liked, to be approved of. And now you find yourself saying no more often. You skip the invitation, not because you're bitter but because your soul is healing. You are learning to sit with your own presence, and surprisingly, it's enough. You no longer fear your thoughts. In fact, you welcome them. You journal more. You take long walks without your phone. You close your eyes and just breathe. You don't run from your mind. You meet it. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." And you feel that. You understand now that the most important relationship you will ever have is the one with yourself. So you protect it. You stop over-explaining, over-sharing, over-committing. You no longer need a crowd to feel alive. One quiet morning with a coffee and a book holds more magic than 100 loud nights trying to impress people who don't even know you. You begin to realize that attention is cheap but time is priceless. And your time, your mental space, your peace, those are things you no longer trade. You don't owe anyone your energy just because they ask for it. You don't chase people. You let them go. Not with anger but with awareness. Because solitude is no longer lonely. It is empowering. It sharpens you. It reminds you of your purpose. It pulls you inward, where all real transformation begins. The world may not notice this shift at first, but your soul does. And that's enough. Sign number 5. You start to let go of people without bitterness. There comes a moment in your journey when you stop forcing connections and start embracing detachment. You no longer beg for closure. You no longer plead to be understood. You stop replaying the past, trying to change something that is already gone. You simply let go. Not with resentment. Not with rage. But with quiet acceptance. This is not weakness. It is growth. It is the kind of strength that doesn't shout. It just walks away. You begin to understand that not everyone is meant to go where you're going. Some people were only meant to teach you a lesson, open your eyes, or even break your heart so you could finally rebuild it right. You don't hate them for it. You thank them. You no longer seek revenge or try to prove your worth to those who couldn't see it. You know your value now. And that knowing becomes your peace. You stop trying to change people. You stop rescuing those who keep choosing to drown. You recognize that saving yourself is your first responsibility. So you stop picking up calls that drain you. You stop responding to energy that disrespects you. You let them talk. Let them go. Let them misunderstand. Because deep inside, you've realized your worth no longer depends on someone else's ability to see it. You begin to honor your boundaries, not as a defense but as a form of self-respect. You give love but you don't beg for it. You offer forgiveness but you don't chase apologies. You walk away from what's not meant for you, not because you're cold but because you're finally warm enough inside not to need external fire. Seneca once said, "He who is brave is free." And that freedom comes when you no longer fear losing people who don't value your presence. You stop trying to fit into spaces that were never built for your soul. You detach not to escape but to elevate. And in that elevation, you meet a version of yourself you've never known, calm, centered, and finally at peace. Sign number 6. You feel drawn to solitude and deep reflection. You no longer fear being alone. In fact, you crave it. Silence becomes your sanctuary, not your enemy. You start to notice the noise of the world more than ever, not just the chaos outside but the clutter within your own mind. And so you withdraw, not to hide, but to hear yourself clearly. You begin to sit with your thoughts, not run from them. You stop numbing yourself with constant distractions, endless scrolling, shallow conversations. Instead, you light a candle, close the door, and enter the temple within. You start asking questions most people run from. Who am I without the titles, the roles, the masks? What do I truly value? What pain have I buried that needs to be understood, not avoided? You begin journaling, meditating, walking alone. Not because it's trendy, but because it's necessary. You feel something awakening within you, something ancient. A hunger for truth. A longing for alignment. You no longer care to impress. You care to understand. While others chase validation, you seek clarity. You read philosophy not to sound wise but to become still. You return to the teachings of Marcus Aurelius, of Epictetus, and realize these men knew what you're only now discovering, that the external world is a mirror, not a master. And peace is found not in control, but in letting go of the illusion of control. You begin to love your own company. You no longer need someone to fill the silence. You sit by yourself and realize you are whole. That is power. That is evolution. You may still go out, still connect, still laugh, but you carry a new kind of awareness. One that watches from a higher place, that chooses presence over performance, depth over drama. People may notice the change. They may call it distance. But you know better. You haven't withdrawn from them. You've returned to yourself. And in that sacred return, you found a kind of strength that no applause can give and no insult can take away. Sign number 7. You begin detaching from who you used to be. One of the most powerful and painful signs that your life is about to change forever is this strange, quiet disconnection you begin to feel from your former self. The person you were just a year ago, or even a few months ago, starts to feel like a stranger. Their habits, their desires, their insecurities, their attachments, their reactions. You no longer resonate with any of it. The things that once triggered you no longer get a rise. The people you used to chase now leave you indifferent. The dreams you once obsessed over start to seem small. This detachment is not a mistake. It is the shedding of an old skin. It feels like grief because you are letting go of an identity you once built your life around. But that grief is sacred. It means you're on the edge of something powerful. The Stoics taught that all transformation is internal. You do not need a new city or a new job or a new lover to become someone new. You only need the courage to stop pretending to be the version of yourself that once felt safe. The detachment feels lonely at first. You may not fully relate to your current circle anymore. Conversations that once excited you now drain you. The places you used to escape to now bore you. You might feel stuck in between two worlds. Not who you were, not yet who you will become. This in-between is sacred. It is where real growth happens. You are not lost. You are unlearning. You are burning off the layers of who you were conditioned to be. You are no longer interested in impressing people who never saw you clearly. You are not seeking validation from a world you are quietly outgrowing. You are becoming more real, more grounded, more silent. The need to prove, the need to win, the need to be liked, is dissolving. What's left is truth. Raw, uncomfortable, liberating truth. The person you are becoming doesn't chase. They attract. They don't perform. They exist. They don't react. They observe. And they don't explain. They evolve. When you begin detaching from who you used to be, you are not losing your identity. You are finding your essence. The real you was never buried deep. It was just hiding beneath layers of noise, fear, and societal programming. This detachment is your soul's quiet rebellion. A whisper saying it's time. Time to rise. Time to lead. Time to step into the version of you that you were always meant to become. Sign number 8. You stop forcing and start flowing. There comes a moment in your journey when you no longer feel the need to push so hard. You stop chasing people who confuse you, you stop trying to control outcomes that never respected your effort, and most importantly, you stop forcing a version of life that constantly resists you. This shift is not surrender. It is awakening. A deep, quiet awakening to the truth that real peace never demands a war. You begin to move with intention instead of desperation. You act from stillness, not anxiety. You start flowing with life, not wrestling against it. The Stoics taught that virtue lies in aligning with nature, not in conquering it. You begin to see how your old habits of control, obsession, and constant doing were fueled by fear. Fear of not being good enough, fear of being left behind, fear of missing out. But now, there is space. Space between the trigger and your response. Space between the dream and your need to force it into form. You start letting go of timelines that were never yours and people who never made room for your light. You understand that what is truly meant for you does not require pain to prove it. It arrives with clarity, not confusion. With consistency, not excuses. With peace, not pressure. You stop begging the world to notice your worth. You stop proving your value to those who only valued your weakness. You stop bending into versions of yourself that only existed to please others. And instead, you return. Return to that centered, calm, and clear presence within you that no longer needs permission to just be. This is not passive. This is powerful. When you stop forcing and start flowing, you unlock a deeper energy. One that attracts instead of chases. one that trusts instead of doubts, one that breathes instead of panics. This shift is invisible at first, but soon everything begins to move. People respond differently. Opportunities unfold naturally. Your body feels lighter. Your mind stops racing. Your heart no longer fights itself. If you feel this within you, know this is not an accident. It is a sign. The final one. The moment you stop forcing and start flowing, you begin to walk the path of true change. A path of inner harmony, outer alignment, and silent transformation. Trust it. Embrace it. And never look back. If these signs are showing up in your life, even quietly, do not ignore them. The universe does not shout when it wants to change you. It whispers. It nudges. And if you're wise enough to listen, everything begins to align. You are not falling apart. You are falling into place. Every discomfort, every detour, every ending is pointing you to something greater. So stay grounded. Stay present. And most of all, stay patient with yourself. You are exactly where you need to be. If this message resonated with you, take a moment to subscribe to Stoic Legacy. It helps us reach more people who need this kind of wisdom, and it tells the algorithm that these truths matter. Leave a comment if any of these signs hit home for you, and share this video with someone who might be on the edge of their own breakthrough. Stay stoic and build your stoic legacy.